All right, Nico. I mean, really similar questions to you. The champion you're playing is Ashe. How experienced are you on Ashe?
So I've currently played 67 games of Ash this split,
Hmm.
and I've played her a bit in previous splits, but I always struggled a lot with her previously, so I'm giving more of an attempt this split than before.
Okay. And
So,
do you think you're plateauing right now? You're climbing?
uh, I think I think I'm starting to climb more because I feel like the last like few weeks I've kind of like understood more concepts. Yeah, but um, I mean I've been in bronze for a while,
Okay.
so I don't. Maybe I'm even more optimistic than or uh, than my actual results show.
No, no, don't worry. I mean, you're doing the first step, right? Of like getting out of bronze. This is great. Uh, I guess my final question is like, is there a particular reason why you chose this spot?
Yes, there is actually. 'Cause this game, I actually do pretty well in the early game. I come out of lane like 4-0-3, and the game goes for like 50 minutes, and then we
Okay.
lose, even though I'm like pretty fed. And I kind of want to know what I could have done to change the results of this game if I could have, which I'm sure I could have because it's bronze. So,
Yeah.
but I could have done the win.
You know what? How about what I'm gonna do actually is I think I'm just going to skip to the mid game, and then we can just analyze from here, right? See if we could really hone in on like what it is you're doing. I wouldn't say wrong, but what you're doing just like a little bit worse to get and do it a little bit better to get you over to the next point. Right here, I'm just gonna ask you this question. Uh, what is your goal right now in this moment?
Well, my goal right now is I know that Dragon's gonna be up soon, and it's mainly just making sure the mid wave is pushed in and try to get Prio for Dragon.
Yep, that's perfect. Just wanted to make sure that you're in the correct mindset. Let's watch what ends up happening.
And like I based like right before this because I knew Dragon was coming. So
Okay, I actually want to Okay, sorry. I thought you meant like you based right here. You didn't base here? That's perfect.
oh no,
Okay,
I
yeah.
was being I mean like you can see I have like 200 gold.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean I
yeah.
based like a minute or like 30 seconds ago or something like that.
Yeah, that's perfect, as you should. So one thing I want to actually mention, Nico, and this is like not the biggest thing, but it will be important, like the more that you play Ashe in the future, right? Uh, just be wary of the amount of times that you're using your W. In reality, it's not like
Yeah.
the biggest poking tool, but as you can tell here, like as you enter to the part where like dragon is actually spawning, like you have no mana, right?
Yeah.
So just a small thing, like in the future, right? Whenever you're playing Ashe, like just be wary of how much you're using your W before these objective spawns. Great dodge. So obviously it's good that you got a
I,
kill,
I
right?
didn't think that Bob would kill me. That's why I flashed because I knew if for sure I'd die if I got hit by two, but I didn't
Uh-huh.
know the one bomb would kill me.
Yeah, don't worry about it. What I actually wanted to mention here was kind of like the mindset of ADC in the mid game. So once you're ahead, you were here for my other session, right, with Jessica. And one of the things that I mentioned that's really important as an ADC is like making sure that your CS numbers are high and you have a lot of gold, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest like inhibitors of that is actually dying. So, like I mentioned, it's great that you killed the poppy, but what I would actually want you to be doing in this moment is thinking less about getting kills, right, at the expense of your death, but more about like keeping your conditions high so that you can stay longer on the map. So what does that actually mean? That means here, like in this scenario, right, like you're kiting, perfect. And instead of like hitting her here, I would actually just look to completely like not stop hitting her, but really focus on making sure that I'm safe, right? Because if you watch what happens, like when you die, this means that you don't get the mid wave, right?
Yeah.
You actually don't get two mid waves. So in your head you might be feeling really good, like I got a kill, right? But this is the mindset change that I want you to have instead. This is how you get more consistent when you're playing ADC, keeping yourself alive, right? I'm gonna ask you the question here. What do you think you should be doing in this case? And I'll ask some leading questions. This dragon, do you think that you can help your team on this dragon?
Uh, I mean, my answer is honestly not really. Like, you can see them. Katarina's going for a play top with Malphite, and it's like a 3v4 in the dragon pit. So I can't really do anything here. I noticed Viego was by himself, so after I threw the ultimate, hoping I could kill the person because they're pretty low, but I probably should have just ignored the dragon altogether and just try to get gold from other ways, whether we're pushing waves or farming jungle or something.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I want to add here too is let's watch your movement out of base, because there's two lessons here, right? You hit the nail on the head, first lesson, but let's look at the second lesson. Your team is playing for this dragon, right? What is your job as an ADC?
My job is to generally help DPS the objective down because you have the most consistent damage of the team, and otherwise just like cleaning up team fights. But with Ash specifically, you're also there to be an engaged bot with your ultimate and try to get pick on someone.
Yep, perfect. And one thing I would just add is like also one of your jobs is the mid wave, right?
Yeah.
So right here, if we just look at your positioning, I think that you could be running straight for this mid wave. And if you're afraid, you have a lot of tools to check, right? You have your hawk shot and you have your blue trinket to check this bush or this bush if you're afraid. And the reason why this matters is because you actually mix up the timing on the two. So here, I would say that you're trying to help your team right now, right? You're trying to like be close to them. Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
Right? And then
it's mainly the fact that I realized that Vega was mainly by himself, and then I was like, oh wait, this play's over.
Yeah, exactly. And then after you like come help them, then you go for the mid wave, right? You see how that? But now because you went for the mid wave, now your team is actually separated. So if you actually flip this, right, you just make this small little flip, you go mid first, you get the mid wave. When do you think this mid wave would die? Probably about now, right?
Yeah.
And then now here you're actually with your team. So you see how that one like simple change in decision making differentiates like your positioning prior to these objectives?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's up? I feel like you're thinking of something here.
No. I agree because it's like, oh, I could have had the mid wave here, and then I would have been here, and I wouldn't have had to worry about the mid wave.
Yeah, exactly. So, for everyone in the call, right, these are like two really, really important lessons when it comes to like ADC. The first one is your job is obviously the mid wave, right? So you go to the mid wave. If you can't, right, then you can't. In this case, like if you're super afraid, I don't even mind you like coming here and letting Katarina catch it instead, because then she can come join later. And then the second half of it is once like a situation is already bad, like this looks horrific, don't lurk, right? Remember, your goal, gold. So just leave instantly and then go push this wave and then go farm jungle camps. And that will like make sure that you're consistently staying strong within the game itself. Make sense, Nico?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is like macro, right? Like macro decision making. I want to watch a team fight and let's see if we can find something that you can work on when it comes to the micro and team fights, all right? Okay. We can look at this. Oopsies. So in similar vein to what I was telling Jessica, I want you to go through, I guess, the same like ability checklist. So on the enemy team, like what are you really afraid of?
So it'd be well, just Jinx in general. Just I know that she like 3 taps me right now, so Zillion his two Q. What is it? Are those his Qs? I don't know. The two bomb things.
Hmm.
Because then I know I get stunned and it also does a lot of damage. And trying to think who else is on the team.
They
They
have
have
Aurora,
Aurora.
Warwick,
I guess
Poppy.
the Aurora alt, but I don't know. I know you can move around in her alt, but it's just more about like I guess interactions with her all. Like if Poppy like wall stuns you into Aurora alt, I'm assuming you take damage from the alt, like something like that.
Well, the way that Aurora ulti works is if you're inside it, you take the damage. You don't need to get like Poppy wall banged or anything to take the damage.
Yeah, I mean, like don't you get take bonus damage if you get like if you go to the outer edge of the
Yeah, yeah.
circle?
Hmm. So I actually think
That's what I meant more.
I actually think a
Oh yeah, and
really
then
helpful.
Warwick alt.
Mhm. I actually think a really helpful thing for you here would just be pre-fight checklist, right? So before you get into a fight, like what are you thinking of? So the way that I think you need to be doing it is you go by the key things that you need to be aware of dodging, and then you go like from there, right? So what does that really mean? Uh, what is more like threatening, Aurora or Poppy?
I mean, it should be Aurora because she's the actual mid laner, but I don't know. It seems like Poppy support does a lot of damage,
Yeah, that's true.
but I know it is Aurora.
Yeah, okay, so Aurora. And the next one is like what's more threatening? Like Warwick or Poppy?
Oh, Warwick.
Hmm. And then like we'll even break it down a bit more. Like what specifically about Aurora are you afraid of?
Uh, mainly her all.
Uh-huh. Same thing for Warwick, right?
Yeah,
And then for Zillion, like his Q, his W Q isn't really I guess guaranteed CC. So I would like put his threat rating lower. And I want to really highlight on that. When I ask you the question like what are you afraid of? The way that you recognize something is like really something to be worried about is typically like if you can get one shot or you can get guaranteed CC. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So when you mention like Jinx, like really you don't actually need to be afraid of Jinx because she doesn't like guarantee one shot you, and she's not CC, right? She's not gonna like randomly walk up and auto attack you. Same thing for Poppy, right? It's like very hard for her to like actually do anything to you unless she like somehow manages to like E you into a wall. So whenever you
yeah,
walk into like team fight situations like this, the only thing that's in your head is like where's Aurora, where's Warwick? Warwick's dead. So once you see this, right, there should be like a blaring noise in your head, like ding 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 ding, like I need to back out, I need to back out, and I need to be
yeah.
aware. Because right here, and I'm looking at you, it's like you're not thinking or like well you're probably thinking, but you're not like really caring, right? There's not like a clear like I need to
No,
leave.
I'm just thinking I want to get this tower to 0 because it's at like they're so close to being dead.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And honestly, this is a lot of the reasons why like ADCs like they begin to throw, right? Usually ADCs begin to throw once they start deprioritizing their life. So what do I mean by that? It's when they like are willing to risk their life for damage. Maybe like you can make the argument at like the super highest level, like you can see a lot of ADCs like risking their life to do damage, but the most consistent way from what I've seen at all levels, like even at the challenger level, is just like making sure that you're staying safe. And that should be the mindset, right? Like you're paying ADC, like what is your job? It's to remain safe. So you don't want to do anything that like actually puts you into jeopardy itself.
Yeah,
Even here, when I see something like this, like what are you thinking in your head at the moment?
um, so where is it? I see. I guess yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, like I didn't look at this part. I guess more recently, but I'm thinking like, oh, I'm with Viego, I'm fine, but my rest of my team's just like chilling in the jungle. So it was not a good decision to go there
Yeah.
because Viego just left me to die. So
Yeah, 100%. And really, like, here we go. Right? I'll just like reduce this. Your question for me is like I want to know like why I lost this game. Right? And we pointed out a couple of things on how you can be more consistent. So like what did we point out that would result in you being more consistent? It would just be for objectives, right? Prioritize the mid wave before grouping, and then don't move to lost fights. You agree with this, right?
yes,
Yeah. But then if we actually look, like, why did you end up losing the game? If you really like distill it into its purest form, it would just be uh, prioritize your life and your role, right? And when I say role, like the mindset of an ADC, it's just get gold, do damage to objectives, and then stay alive, right?
yeah,
So then when we look at like you dying here, right, you're stuck on like you're trying to do damage to these objectives, but you're forgetting that your primary number one is to stay alive. And then when we look at this situation here, right, like what's available right now? I see something really important right now.
and the Baron.
Yeah, exactly.
Baron's thing I struggle a lot with because a lot of times I'll be like, "Oh, we should do Baron now," but my team completely ignores any pings that I say about Baron. So I just kind of forget Baron exists because it seems like no one ever wants to do Baron in bronze. So
hmm So that's completely fair, right? That you can't take control of your teammates. But if we still follow the same level like checklist where it's like stay alive, get gold. If your team doesn't want to do Baron, uh, does this follow like those three tenets of ADC? Like, are you getting
no,
gold
oh
here?
no, absolutely
Right? You're not
no.
gonna hit an objective, and you're for sure putting yourself in danger to die. So focus less about the Baron and focus more about those like three tenets, right? So like say if we
Yeah,
were to give you like an in-game goal, right? I think a really good in-game goal for yourself would be in like the mid late. Uh, remember the checklist, right? Where it's like gold, gold, objectives, stay alive, and then out of game goal. So when you're reviewing on your own, right? What I want you to do is once you're in the mid game, same thing. Just ask yourself like, I want you to review your first two deaths. And the reason why I want you to review your first two deaths is I want you to ask yourself, did I die within these reasons, right? And then that way you can slowly like attain this mindset because you're constantly like fact checking yourself. Like, did the way I die make sense within these things, right? Was I playing for gold? Was I playing around the objectives? Was I prioritizing my life? Do you feel like you have like a clear idea on
yeah.
like what went wrong in this game and how you can take the learnings and improve into the next one?
No, I agree that I don't know. For me, I still I'm just surprised. Just like I've only died 5 times at this point, and you're saying like the 2 or 3 deaths that I've had is what caused this game to be over. To me, it just seems like it's just surprising. But if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Well, let me change the language there actually because it's important. The real reason why you lost, like straight up, is because your team was like taking a lot of bad fights. Like no bullshit, right? Like that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Like you're super fed, but everyone was like dying around you. But can you change that?
No.
Like the best you could do is
Well,
ping,
I get ping. Yeah.
right? The best you could do is ping. So it's not necessarily like you dying 5 times ruins the game, because that's not true, right? But what it does do is it takes away like your personal responsibility. And the only thing that's going to remain consistent in your League of Legends journey is your personal responsibility, right? So
Yeah.
instead, I just want you to think like, okay, this is how like I improve. This is how I get better. So in these situations, right? Even if my team is inting, like I can still maintain like a maximum impact. Make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think it's like all on your shoulders, right? But when you're really on that like improvement mindset, you really can't think about anything else other than the idea that like this is what I can control.